It started with the installation crew pulling into my driveway on a bright Tuesday morning. After months of research and permits, I was finally getting solar panels installed on my roof. For me, it was about cutting down utility bills and preparing for emergencies. But within minutes of the workers unloading their equipment, Karen appeared. She stood on the sidewalk, arms crossed, glaring as if the panels were a personal attack. By the time the first frame went up, she was already snapping photos, clearly preparing her next complaint. I had a feeling this was only the beginning. Sure enough, the HOA received her first complaint, before the installation was even finished. She claimed the panels were unsightly and would lower property values. She demanded the board halt construction immediately, but I had done my homework. I presented my permits, HOA approvals, and documentation showing the project followed every guideline. The board reluctantly sided with me, but Karen didn't stop. She began a crusade, cornering neighbors, exaggerating claims, spreading rumors that my panels would blind drivers. While the crew worked diligently, she fumed from her porch, convinced she could still find a way to stop me. The panels were completed within a week, sleek and efficient across my roofline. My electric meter began spinning backward and my utility bills dropped almost instantly. Neighbors stopped by, curious and impressed by the setup. But Karen only grew angrier. She muttered about lawsuits, posted angry notes on the HOA bulletin board, and even circulated a petition to have my panels removed. The problem? Most neighbors saw the benefits and refused to sign. Karen's obsession only made her look unreasonable. For me, life moved on. The system worked perfectly. And I barely thought about her until the storm came. 2 months later, a powerful storm swept through the area. Heavy winds toppled trees, power lines snapped, and transformers blew across town. By evening, the neighborhood was cloaked in darkness. Every house was pitch black except mine. My solar panels, paired with a backup battery, kept my lights glowing, fridge running, and Wi-Fi humming. From across the street, Karen's house was dark and silent. As the hours passed, neighbors quietly drifted toward my home, drawn by the glow. I opened my doors, offering warmth, phone charging, and hot coffee. My system, the one Karen tried to kill, had become a lifeline. By the second day of the outage, half the block was gathering in my living room and kitchen. Parents brought their kids to stay warm, elderly neighbors charged medical devices, and everyone pitched in with food and supplies. My home became the unofficial community hub. Karen, however, stayed in the shadows. Her house was freezing, her phone dead, but her pride kept her away. From time to time, I saw her peeking out, scowling as people walked past her darkened windows to join me. The irony couldn't have been clearer. The panels she despised were saving the entire neighborhood. Eventually, even Karen couldn't hold out. On the third night, she approached with a flashlight, her face tight with embarrassment. She hovered near the porch as neighbors welcomed her in. Though she muttered excuses, it was clear she had no choice but to accept the very help she had fought to prevent. I didn't gloat, but others noticed. Whispers spread about how her complaints nearly robbed the block of the only safe haven during the storm. Her reputation, once feared, began to crumble. She wasn't the authority anymore. She was the hypocrite who tried to shut down the power source. When power finally returned days later, the shift in the neighborhood was undeniable. Karen no longer had the same influence. But neighbors respected me for standing firm, and many began looking into solar panels for themselves. The HOA, once hesitant, even revised its policies to make installations easier. Encouraged by the benefits they'd seen firsthand, Karen, meanwhile, was quieter than ever. Her failed crusade still fresh in everyone's memory. No one forgot who tried to stop progress, and who had kept the lights on. The balance of power had shifted and, for once, it wasn't in her favor. In the weeks that followed, life returned to normal, but the message lingered. Karen had tried to block me with petty complaints, but in the end, nature itself had proven her wrong. My panels weren't an eyesore, they were survival. Neighbors waved more often, some asking for advice on installation, while Karen kept her head down, avoiding the very people she once tried to rally. Every evening, as I watched my panels soak up the sun, I couldn't help but smile. Karen hated my solar panels, but when the storm hit, they were the reason everyone had power except her.